Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that the country is nearing its goal of ending Hamas's military capabilities. He said that Israel has almost eliminated Hamas's terrorist army. Then he said that he would be continuing the attacks on Gaza. Israeli forces are telling the residents of Eastern Khan Younis in Gaza to evacuate the area. The residents claim that they received audio messages from Israeli phone numbers. The orders come a day after the Israeli military said that rockets were fired from the Khan Younis area. A barrage of rockets was fired from Lebanon towards Israel yesterday. The rockets flying into Israeli territory were caught on camera. Sirens were sounded in the northern Israeli city of Kiryat Shmona to warn the residents about the attack. The Yemen-based Houthi group has claimed responsibility for attacks on 4 more ships. They attacked American, British and Israeli vessels. The Houthis say that they targeted ships in the Red Sea, the Arabian Sea, the Mediterranean Sea and in the Indian Ocean. The U.S. Supreme Court has granted partial immunity from prosecution to Donald Trump. The ruling is a major relief for the Republican presidential candidate and former U.S. president. The American Supreme Court justices said that presidents have immunity for quote-unquote official acts. However, the presidents can be prosecuted for their personal and unofficial acts. Trump faces legal charges for his attempts to overturn the 2020 U.S. presidential election results. U.S. President Joe Biden has criticized the Supreme Court ruling that grants presidents wide immunity from prosecution for their official acts. Biden has said that this sets a dangerous precedent. He added that it potentially allows U.S. presidents to act without fear of legal consequences. An Air Europa flight hit severe turbulence, injuring several passengers on board. The flight was en route to Montevideo in Uruguay from Madrid in Spain. After the turbulence, the plane had to make an emergency landing at a Brazilian airport. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has said that the country will resume direct talks with the U.S. He said that Washington had initiated a proposal for talks and Caracas accepted it after 2 months of careful consideration. In April, the U.S. levied crippling oil sanctions on Venezuela. This is over the government's alleged crackdown on political opposition ahead of Venezuela's upcoming presidential election. Panama's new president, Jose Raul Mulino, has assumed office. He has vowed to curb illegal migration. In his first address as president, Mulino described the migration issue as a costly humanitarian and environmental crisis. The Bolivian government has summoned the ambassador of Argentina. The summons follow a comment by the office of Argentina's president, Javier Milei. On Sunday, Milei's office called the recent coup attempt on Bolivian President Luis Arce fraudulent. Bolivia witnessed a coup attempt last week with tanks and soldiers trying to enter the presidential palace. According to North Korean state media, the country has successfully tested a new tactical ballistic missile. The missile is reportedly capable of carrying a super-large warhead. The news of the successful test comes after South Korea reported 2 missile launches from the north yesterday. Meanwhile, a car accident in South Korea's capital, Seoul, killed at least 9 pedestrians yesterday. 4 others were injured. A car was traveling in the wrong direction when it hit pedestrians who were waiting at a traffic light. On to climate news now. Hurricane Beryl has strengthened into a top-level Category 5 storm. The powerful storm swept through several islands in the southeastern Caribbean, leaving a widespread trail of destruction. Jamaica and the Cayman Islands are now bracing for the hurricane. Tropical storm Chris made minor damage in southern Mexico after making landfall in Mexico's Veracruz state. Authorities are still monitoring damages across the nation. The storm forced authorities to shut schools and evacuate families in several regions. The Indian Meteorological Department is predicting heavy rainfall in Delhi and has issued an orange alert. Meanwhile, heavy rain has lashed parts of the states of Gujarat and Maharashtra. Two national highways in Gujarat were closed due to waterlogging. Heavy rain in Pakistan's Balochistan region has killed at least 8 people. At least 24 others have been injured. The heavy rainfall has also damaged around 300 houses in Balochistan. Heavy rain and floods have triggered evacuations in southern China. The country has also allocated nearly $6 million to restore roads after incessant rainfall damaged infrastructure in several regions. A state of emergency has been declared in 2 regions of Russia due to raging wildfires amid sweltering heat. The emergency was declared in the Sakha region in Russia's Far East and the Tuva region in southern Russia. A severe heat wave is expected to hit the U.S. state of California today. Temperatures are expected to exceed 37 degrees Celsius in some parts of the state. The heat is likely to last through the weekend. The Amazon rainforest in Brazil witnessed nearly 14,000 wildfires in the first half of 2024. The toll marks the worst 6 months of wildfires in 20 years. There has been a 61% increase in forest fires compared to the same period last year. Experts attribute the increase to a drought that hit the tropical rainforest last year. Now for business and tech news. Workers at Samsung Electronics in South Korea have called for a 3-day strike starting on July 8th. They are angry over Samsung's 5.1% pay hike offer this year. The National Samsung Electronics Union, or the NSEU, has announced a no-pay, no-work general strike. The NSEU represents around 28,000 employees, which is over a fifth of the firm's workforce. Tata Steel workers in the UK have suspended a planned strike. Controversy arose over the company's plans to close 2 blast furnaces, which could have cut up to 2,800 jobs in Wales. Around 1,500 workers at Port Talbot and Llanwern were due to begin an indefinite strike over the matter, but the strike has now been called off after Tata Steel agreed to address workers' concerns. Canada's second-largest airline, WestJet, has cancelled hundreds of flights. This was over a strike staged by plane mechanics who walked off their jobs yesterday. The dispute arose after the airline and a labor union failed to reach a deal on salaries and working conditions. The strike led to the cancellation of more than 800 flights. Germany-based Siemens Energy plans to hire 10,000 more employees. These hirings will be for the firm's electricity grid business over the next 6 years. About 40% of the new jobs will be added in Europe. Meanwhile, 20% of them will be allocated to the US and India. The remaining hires will be distributed across Asia and Latin America. Analysts have projected that Tesla's deliveries will be down by 6% in the second quarter of this year. It would mark the first time that Tesla would post 2 consecutive quarters of decline. The drop in Tesla's deliveries is due to stiff competition in China and slow demand due to a lack of affordable models. Analysts expect that the company will deliver 438,019 vehicles in Q2. Wall Street's main indices extended higher during trading hours yesterday. The Nasdaq index saw the largest gains, boosted by technology companies. Dow Jones also saw slight gains. Stocks of iPhone maker Apple rose by 3%. Meanwhile, e-commerce giant Amazon and tech giant Microsoft both added more than 2%. Reports say that American chipmaker Nvidia is set to be charged by a French antitrust regulator. The firm will reportedly be charged for alleged anti-competitive practices. The charge sheet will follow raids at the company's French offices in September last year. If it materializes, France will become the first enforcer to act against the computer chipmaker. China has slammed the US for its actions regarding artificial intelligence investments. The US wants to restrict certain investments in China's AI and tech sectors. The Chinese envoy to the UN said that this could potentially harm the global development of artificial intelligence. Washington introduced draft measures last month to curb investments in China, citing national security. The European Union has accused social media giant Meta of violating its digital laws. Meta introduced a paid option for ad-free Facebook and Instagram to comply with EU privacy rules last year. However, if users don't pay, Meta uses their data for personalized ads. The European Commission says that this model breaches the new EU digital laws. They argue that it forces users into a binary choice where they are required to pay for privacy or consent to data use across platforms. Reports say that music streaming app Spotify is testing a new emergency alert feature in Sweden. This system would send out public announcements about accidents, serious events, or the disruption of important services. The initiative is not mandatory under Swedish law, but it could make Spotify more relevant in times of emergency. It's only being tested in Sweden as of now. The company has no plans to announce it worldwide. Moving to sports, we start with cricket. James Anderson will be joining the England camp as a fast bowling coach. He will transition into the role when he retires from Test cricket following a series with the West Indies next week. Anderson is touted as one of the most successful pace bowlers in the history of Test cricket. The 41-year-old has a total of 700 Test wickets under his belt. Afghanistan's women cricketers are seeking help from the International Cricket Council, or ICC. 17 of them, who are in self-imposed exile in Australia, are asking the ICC to help them form a team. They aim to revive the disbanded Afghanistan women's cricket team. It was formed in 2010, but it was dissolved due to the Taliban taking over. The Afghan women are now striving to form a refugee team for international play. In football, Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal have entered the quarter-finals of the UEFA Euros 2024. Portugal were up against Slovenia in the last 16 stage. The match went to penalties after a goalless draw in regular time. Ronaldo's side then beat Slovenia 3-0 in penalties. Portugal now face France in their quarter-final match. England's Jude Bellingham is under fire from FIFA. The European football governing body has opened an investigation for a gesture he made during a Euro 2024 match. The incident took place when England were playing against Slovakia. After scoring a goal, Bellingham was seen making a gesture with his hand. Bellingham said it was an inside joke and it was not meant as an insult. In tennis, men's world number 2 Novak Djokovic is set to launch his Wimbledon campaign. He returns to action after a knee surgery. Djokovic picked up the injury during the French Open. Now, the 24-time Grand Slam champion is pitted against Czech player Vit Kopriva in the Wimbledon first round. The Serb is looking to end his 2024 title drought. Men's world number 3 Carlos Alcaraz of Spain began his title defense at Wimbledon yesterday. He defeated Estonia's Marc Lajal 7-6, 7-5, 6-2 in the first round. The battle lasted for 2 hours and 22 minutes. Alcaraz next faces Alexander Vukic of Australia in the second round. India's Sumit Nagal has crashed out of Wimbledon. He fought it out against Serbia's Miomir Kecmanovic. However, he lost the match 2-6, 6-3, 3-6, 4-6. The four-set marathon match lasted for close to 2 hours and 40 minutes. In badminton, India's Lakshya Sen is set to lead the Indian Challenge at the Canada Open. The ace shuttler will look to defend his crown in the tournament. Lakshya is seeded 4th in the Canada Open. A 17-year-old Chinese badminton player died after collapsing on court during a tournament in Indonesia. His name is Zhang Zhijie. The incident occurred when he was playing against Japan's Kazuma Kawano at the Asia Junior Championships. He was rushed to the hospital and was later pronounced dead. In basketball, the NBA team, the Boston Celtics, is going up for sale. The team's ownership group, the Boston Basketball Partners, have decided to sell all of the team's shares. This comes after the Celtics won the NBA championship last month. In entertainment news, singer Ali Sethi has come out as queer in a cryptic Instagram post. He posted a childhood photograph of himself with a caption which read, and I quote, "I know it's hard sometimes when they tell you not to be you." Sethi ended the post by writing that the very thing that makes a person different becomes a source of power and beauty. Taylor Swift has secured a 10th week at #1 on the Billboard 200 albums chart. She has achieved this feat with her album, The Tortured Poets Department. Swift might break Adele's record for being the female artist to dominate the Billboard chart for the most consecutive weeks. Eminem is all set to release a new album titled The Death of Slim Shady. It'll arrive on the 12th of July. He posted a teaser video showing a woman giving birth. Eminem will release a single from the project today. Pearl Jam has cancelled 2 more European shows due to a mysterious illness. They were supposed to perform in Berlin for 2 days. The band members continue to recover from the unknown disease. They have now cancelled concerts scheduled for the 6th of July in Barcelona. The BET Awards 2024 issued an apology note after they muted a part of Usher's award acceptance speech. They stated that due to an audio malfunction, portions of his speech got muted. He received the Lifetime Achievement Award. The makers of Wicked have changed its release date. The adaptation of the hit Broadway show will now release 5 days ahead of schedule on the 22nd of November. It was supposed to release on the 27th of November with Moana 2. The decision likely comes to avoid a box office battle. According to Disney, Season 3 of The Bear has garnered a viewership of over 5 million views in 4 days. With this, the show becomes the most watched season premiere for any scripted series on Hulu. The story is about a young fine dine chef who comes back home to run a sandwich shop. The makers of John Wick will soon turn Indian Hindi language film Kill into an English one. The story is about an Indian army commander who races against time to rescue his lover. The film will release in India on the 5th of July. Actors Sepatha Murkison, Oliver Platt and Marilyn Barrett will continue to play their roles in Chicago Med. They have locked new deals with the medical drama series makers. They will reportedly work for a decade with the NBC. The story follows a hospital and its day-to-day challenges. Lindsay Lohan said that she felt like a kid after returning for Freaky Friday 2. She reprised her role from the 2003 body swap family comedy film. It's based on Mary Rogers' 1972 novel of the same name.